Most of what goes into an XHTML document is usually text or something that gets handled like text. In HTML lingo, it's called inline content, but that'll be covered a little bit later. For now, we'll just talk about it in terms of text. Open your examples folder, and inside open the folder called text, and bring up the text.html document into your text editor. This document, which is based on the transitional template, contains basically 3 paragraphs of text. If you load it up into your browser, use Internet Explorer for this, you'll see that there are 3 lines of text, 3 paragraphs of text actually, where a paragraph is separated by a blank line in between. Each of these lines of text are paragraphs. Taking a look at the document in the text editor, you can see there's 1 line of text, there's another line of text, and there's another line of text, and each of those lines of text are within a P container. The P tag, or the P container, defines a paragraph. And a paragraph is a bunch of text separated from other bunches of text by some white space. Looking at it in the browser, this is a paragraph, and this is a paragraph, and this is a paragraph. Now, the interesting thing about all of this is in the way that XHTML handles text, and in particular, the way that it handles white space. If I remove this space here and save the document, and then reload it again in the browser, you'll notice that nothing changes. This space to the left does not change. Nothing at all changes, even though I took out that space. In fact, if I add a bunch of spaces and then save and reload, again, nothing changes. The paragraph remains in exactly the same spot, and there are no more spaces. This is because all space in XHTML, just as in HTML, all sequences of white space are folded into one space character. And in fact, a paragraph ignores leading spaces after the opening P tag. In fact, if we take this space out and instead insert spaces between the words, you'll see that it has exactly the same effect. We'll save that and reload it in the browser. And still, that's just one space. All those spaces are folded into one space. Can even put it on a different line, and it still is considered one space. All that space, 2 line endings, it's all one space. All that white space is folded into one space. The things that are considered white space in XHTML are space characters, horizontal tabs, that is as if when you press the tab key, carriage returns, and line feeds. Now, carriage returns and line feeds are really considered the same thing in XHTML. The XML processor, according to the XML specification, the XML processor normalizes different systems' line end codes into one single line feed character that is passed up to the application. That's a lot of words to say. They're all considered the same thing, and they're all considered white space. So we can save this again and bring it up in the browser, and it's no change. So let's take all those extra spaces out for a second and just format some of these paragraphs differently. Maybe add a bunch of extra spaces here. Maybe all that just doesn't make any difference. So it's good to realize as you write your XHTML documents that you can line things up however works best for you. I tend to like to do this sort of thing with paragraphs. Keep the P tag and the PN tag on lines by themselves and put the text in between. Sometimes I'll indent the text in between like that. It's useful to know that all that extra white space is ignored so that you can just format the source document the way that it'll make sense for you looking at that, and realize that the document on the web browser will have a consistent look and feel.